Hey, welcome everybody. I've got the lovely Lyndsie Barrie with me here today. She has been an instrumental part of turning mere ideas into viable and sustainable businesses for hundreds of women entrepreneurs. Not only has Lyndsie tirelessly shared her passion and expertise of social media and teamwork with like-minded women, she has gone to the next level with publishing 6 books for Fempreneurs and creating the YYC Fempreneurs community. Welcome, Lyndsie.
Thank you for having me, Angela. I'm so excited to chat.
Me too. I'm glad you're back. We'll talk about your escapades in Mexico in a bit here, but I want to ask you about what were you doing before you launched your YYC Fempreneurs business? Can you lead us up to the present day?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I came out of high school and didn't know what I wanted to do, which is very normal for all of you who are maybe at that stage and you think you should know. You shouldn't. I found the world of beauty and hairdressing and nails, and I got right into that. Went to school to be a hairdresser. Moved from Vancouver. Grew up in Dawson Creek. Moved to Vancouver. Was not a city girl. Still can't do city life, as you can probably tell by my surroundings. I prefer to be in nature, and I am really glad that I moved from Vancouver to Grand Prairie, because even though it wasn't my hometown, it enabled me to sort of have a new start and to, be independent and figure out, fall on my face a lot, of course, as we do in our 20s. And I, as a new hairdresser, quite quickly realized that I could do this on my own. I didn't need to work in a salon and have a boss, and I could book my own appointments with my clients. I could manage my own schedule. I could also do it on in a mobile fashion. So I had a mobile beauty business for 8 years, doing hair and nails in people's homes. And then when I moved to Cochrane in 2010, I was able to, a very long story, I'm just gonna not get into that right now, but I was able to retrain as a financial advisor. So I, took this Canadian securities course, got my life insurance license, was hired by a large international investment firm. I was like a stockbroker and mutual fund salesperson with a sneaky title, financial advisor, which if you're out there in the world looking for a financial advisor, just know that they actually get paid to sell you products. Fun fact. And then I was able to get fired from that company, which was a huge fall. Once again, I felt like I had fell on my face, and I was like, oh my God, I screwed up, I suck, blah, blah. Like, I didn't do anything wrong, but I just wasn't good at selling people things when I didn't feel like they needed them. And that's how you make money with that particular company. So it was a blessing in disguise. I ended up starting my own boutique financial consulting firm. And that led me to hiring my first ever business coach, who I hired because he had written a couple books. I wrote my first book. Throughout marketing that book, I realized that I had a gift for marketing, and that I was stumbling upon some really cool marketing nuggets that I wanted to share with other fempreneurs. And that I also discovered during that process, because the book was a book for women, that I really just wanted to work with women, both in my financial business and later on, it turned out that I, created a marketing business too. So that's kind of the backstory.
Yeah, that's a winding road. Let me guess, are you the eldest sibling? Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah,
I could
yeah,
tell.
sure
We
am.
we have
Bossy,
to
bossy Lynn's right
we
here.
are bossy, aren't we? I'm married to one too, so he was the oldest sibling as well. So we yeah, we clash sometimes, but we get each other.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, okay, so you started Fempreneurs after all that, because you were marketing yourself. So, what was that spark that got you moving that direction? Like, why Fempreneurs, and why, like, yeah, why did you want to work with women in marketing?
Well, my business coach helped me realize a lot of things. First of all, he helped me realize that I was really leaning into like this masculine energy that was definitely, like, I grew up hunting and camping, and I am very outdoorsy. And I was attracting a lot of, in my financial business, I was attracting a lot of these male clients, a lot of engineers, and just dudes who didn't really feel like they needed me. They knew they were smarter than me, but they liked me and they wanted to support me. And ultimately, over time, that doesn't work as a, in that kind of
Yeah.
relationship with the client and the advisor. So I did know that I had a lot more in common with moms. I had a lot in common with women who had not, I had never been married to someone who was running the finances, but I had made a lot of financial discoveries just from coming out of a childhood that didn't give me any financial knowledge, from parents who didn't really talk about it. And they taught us that it was rude to ask people how they make their money and how much they paid for their house. And, what is an invest? Like, we weren't allowed to ask, adults those questions as kids. We were basically told, like, you'd never talk about money. And so then I had a career where literally all I did all day long was ask people questions about money, which was really weird. But it was a lot more natural and felt a lot more, I felt comfortable, and I feel like the women felt more comfortable talking to me about their money than they would, say, a male financial advisor. So that really just bubbled into, my next business, which was kind of an accidental business. When I started teaching um, entrepreneurs about marketing, I wanted them to be female entrepreneurs because I already knew that women get me and I get them, just strictly because, especially moms. Of my first few groups of entrepreneurs that I was teaching about marketing were mompreneurs. So I was doing the mompreneur thing. And then I decided to drop the mom thing because I had a few really good friends at the time that, wanted kids, couldn't have them, or were in a marriage where, time had just went by and it got late and they never had kids, and that kind of rubbed them the wrong way. And I didn't want that. Right. And I'm glad I dropped the mompreneur thing, because today, probably over 50% of my clients are women that don't have kids, interestingly. Yeah. So, yeah.
That is interesting. So you kind of made a bold move at the beginning. I think I remember you stating that when you started this community and your course, you gave it away for free for the first 100 women. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what was that all about? Tell us about that marketing strategy.
Yeah. So I did a few paid workshops for mompreneurs, and then I started dating a guy who had a business that was kind of on a backslide. And, I had all these marketing ideas for him, and we started doing all this stuff, and I was, wanting to help him. And a lot of this stuff was working really quickly. And then he was like, oh my gosh, wow, we've really stumbled upon, something that works here. Let's share with other entrepreneurs. So we were actually using his gym to hold events and bringing in female and male entrepreneurs. We invited everyone we knew, and we were holding these events where I would teach a little bit about marketing. He would teach a little bit about marketing, because before his business backslid, he had a number of years where he was like an absolute rock star on social media, and he never paid for ads for anything. He was getting all of his new members at his gym from his social media, because he was funny and raunchy and just always out there on social media. And so we started that, and I ended up getting some marketing clients. People were like, hey, you're really good at this. Can you help me? And I was like, oh, yeah. They're like, how much do you charge? And I was like, great question. And I'd start, building these packages and stuff. And then ultimately, I guess what happened with the marketing school was actually, while I was still with him, I went to the Hoffman retreat. It's a week-long, pretty intensive retreat for mental health, and just for, figuring out why you are the way you are, and maybe why you keep running up against some of the same blocks. And while I was there, it was the first night I was laying in bed, and I envisioned this marketing school that would be completely for free, but that it would funnel people into maybe working with me if they needed some help with maybe building a website, or if they needed more one-on-one support. And it would create this community of female entrepreneurs that after they graduate, we'd hold a big grad night event where, the people from past grad classes could come, people who were going to sign up in the future could come, anybody who maybe doesn't even have a business, any woman could come and just cheer these women entrepreneurs on and get to know their businesses. So it was like events, right? Like regular events, bringing these like-minded entrepreneurs together. And then the marketing school was really the draw to get them in. And then the events and the community feel was what kept them around and kept them cheering each other on and all that good stuff. So yeah, so I taught this 6-week marketing school. This is the workbook. It's not free anymore, but this workbook is only $25 on Amazon if you want to just use the workbook to work through it on your own. Yeah. We're going to come back to the workbook in a minute when we share the 6 marketing hacks. But yeah, yes. I taught this 6-week marketing school for free until I had about 100 women through the program, which took about 9 months. And then I started charging for it. and it still
Yeah.
happens today, twice a year. It's not 6 weeks anymore, it's 3 months now, because every time these women were like, "Oh my god, too much, too fast." So I finally
Yes.
listened and slowed it down, and you know all about that, right?
Yes, I've been through the marketing school. It's very great, and yeah, I couldn't have done it in 6 weeks. I kind of barely got through it. I had to kick myself in the butt a lot to, like, get the stuff done, right, as you do when you're doing any course.
Yeah.
But it was really, uh, it was enlightening, and it really pushed me,
Thank you.
beyond my comfort zone. So, but with a lot of good support too. So that's what we need, I think. And so I think you're right on the nose here with creating what you've created. And so
Thank you.
how did you feel about doing that for free? Like, because a lot of coaches I work with are like, don't do anything for free like
Yeah,
that. Like, don't do it because you'll be devalue yourself. Like,
yeah.
how do you feel about it looking back at it now,
Well, I
having done
think
it that
that
way?
as a marketing tool, and I
Yeah.
just finished putting up my 25th video of 25 completely free marketing videos that are on YouTube. And a couple years ago, I did a 22-day in 2022. I did a 22-day Instagram marketing challenge, 22 completely free videos. Those were more designed to funnel people into my marketing school and working with me, though. And this 25 videos that I created now in 2025, these are not really funneling people into anything necessarily. I think I mentioned my marketing school a couple times. I think I mentioned my ability to build websites maybe once. Like, I wanted it to be a standalone, blow your
Mm.
mind, help you with your marketing, give you ideas, keep you moving forward, because my calendar is full all the time now. There's
Mhm.
usually a few fempreneurs kind of on the waiting list for if I have time, if I can take them on as clients. So
Yeah.
I'm doing this as a kind of gift to the universe and giving back to this
Yeah.
world of fempreneurs that's been so good to me. But back when I didn't have enough clients and I needed more money and I needed to do more work, free does work, and it works if you position it correctly. And it's got to funnel them into paid things. And you can't give too much of your stuff away. But you also, as a coach or a consultant, have to recognize that most people won't just take your knowledge and run with it. Most
Yeah.
people are getting in their own way. They need that weekly or
Mm.
bi-weekly touch point for someone with no emotion attached to the business to be like, "Hey, why didn't you do that thing you said you were going to do?" Or like, "Hey, you did this, but it's very half-assed, so I know you can do better." Or, "Why are you doing that instead of that when this was what we decided was your priority and you agreed?" And like, they need a second set of eyes often. They need a
Yeah.
coach. So
Yeah.
the people that don't need the coach and they can take the info and run with it and have their free gift, good for them. I'm super happy to help. And the cool thing is those people refer others to my free stuff that
Yeah.
end up being in the other category that need me, right? So I think if it's
Exactly.
positioned correctly,
Okay.
um, and it's not a giant sales pitch free gift, like you see those sometimes where they don't really give you anything, but they
Yeah.
talk a lot about the problem that they can help you solve, but they don't
Yeah.
really allude to how, and then they want to sell you something, but they haven't even helped you. Like, that kind of crap totally doesn't work. It just pisses people off, right?
Yeah, and that's what I appreciate about your marketing. It's super honest and valuable. Like I've attended those they're usually webinars or they're called master classes and they don't really
Yeah.
say anything. And I've done my own master classes and I try to give all the value up front. Like that's what I want to be known for. And I know that as well as you want to be known in a certain way. And that's your brand, right? That's how you want to be positioned. And so I think people appreciate that and they connect with you because you are so open and sharing of your knowledge, right? And just trusting that the right people will come to you and will hire you and they have. Obviously it's working for you, right?
Yeah.
So just trusting that process of, getting back what you put out there.
Yes, that's the other
Yeah.
thing. When you don't give things away for free, it's often coming from a scarcity mindset. It's
Yeah.
coming from some deep-rooted belief that there's not enough and that you are gonna have a really hard time getting what you need out of this world, and you can't give
Yeah.
anything away for free, and
Yeah.
yeah, you just have to trust.
Yeah, I like that. Well, let's talk about you did mention the 6 marketing strategies that you use that you kind of figured out, well, like, "Hey, these are working for me. They might work for other people too." So, can we talk about those strategies that you developed that you've woven into your framework for your marketing school and just give us a high level overview of what those are?
Yes, absolutely. So I don't know if you can see this. If I hold this up, can you see those?
Yeah.
The words are all backwards probably.
Yes, I think
That's
so.
not very helpful then. So I'm showing you we have 6 badges in marketing school, one for each sort of fundamental concept or whatever hack, if you will. The first one is team. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you don't have a team of like-minded people cheering you on to bounce ideas off of, it's going to be almost impossible to do this marketing stuff because it's going to be scary and you're going to feel weird. And if you don't have people around you who are doing it too, you're probably going to quit. The second one is, oh, now I can't tell what order they're in. Hold on. Let me go to my old, this is why we write books, people, so we can do exactly what I'm
I can
doing.
reference them.
Like, is it this way or is it this way?
Yeah.
Okay, so team is number one. Number two is conversation. So striking up more meaningful conversations with the right people is what marketing is at its core. It doesn't really matter how, flashy your reels are if they're not striking up conversations with the right people. And then the next one is service. If you're not coming at things from a servant heart, like we were just talking about, if you're not feeling like you want to go out there and help people, if you're coming at it from a purely selfish, I need to make money, I need, me, that's going to come out in your marketing and it's going to repel people. So that's a big mindset shift, right? But we have to also take time to really envision who this person is we want to help. And then we have to think, what do they actually need from me? And kind of pretend like they're already our client. And what are we going to create for them? And how are we going to serve them? And then that moves us into storytelling. And that's where we start to tell the stories about our lives. And behind the scenes, while we're storytelling on social media at this point in marketing school, we're behind the scenes still working on that service piece. We're actually starting to create things that we haven't maybe created yet, but we're starting to brainstorm what we're going to create. So on social media, we're just telling stories about our life. For me, what I was doing during this phase was I was telling stories about the funny financial screw ups that I was, making in my teens and 20s. I was talking about things that I didn't know about money. And I was sharing like just kind of funny and embarrassing stories about my past, right? That had to do with, the thing I was creating at the time was I was writing a book for women, for moms 39 and over. The book is called Money and the 39 Forever Mom. It's still a great book, even though it's a little older, but it's on Amazon. So we've got the team, the conversation, service, storytelling, and then we actually start creating. So this is where we would be creating things like lead magnets, or a new lead magnet, or taking an old lead magnet that you had up there a couple years ago on your website, and we would be zhuzhing it up and making it fresh and adding some new calls to action to it and putting it out there again. So the create piece is huge with marketing, because if we're not constantly creating new things for our people, then all we're doing is selling. And selling and marketing are two very different things. Selling is a financial transaction. That's when someone gives you money for a service. Marketing is building relationships, and the sale happens naturally when you've done a good job of the marketing. And then the last thing we do is automation. We talk about the different technology tools that can automate some stuff for you. We also talk about automating your days, your weeks, your months, so that you start to feel like there's a bit of a rhythm. We also talk about automating things like when I feel like completely like unmotivated, what is my automatic response to that? Do I go for a walk? Do I do some burpees? Do I go get a massage, or do I lay on the floor and cry and drink a bunch of beer? Like, we start to look at how we can automate our lives a little bit and about some of the bad habits that we have, and talk about ways to retrain ourselves so that we can take all of these awesome marketing things into our lives and into our future and actually use them instead of feeling overwhelmed. Because guess what? We all feel overwhelmed some days. We all feel like we suck some days. And we feel like, what if I've lost my motivation forever? What if menopause has killed it? Like, we all wonder. But those days are just days. Those are just moments, right? Like, they're not forever.
Yeah.
So we just try to make sure that we're all on the same page with that. And yeah, that's really it. That's the 6 marketing projects.
Interesting. Yeah, I liked when I went through the marketing school, when you said that selling and marketing are two different things. That was a light bulb moment for me. It's like, yeah, I think that's why I avoided it for a long time, because I just felt like it had to be pushy or whatever, but it really is not that. And I don't know if you get that sort of reaction from a lot of the women you work with. Do they feel that way? Is that a mindset block for them as to why they're not marketing their business at all or more?
I think it helps them understand what they're supposed to be doing on social
Yeah.
media, and I have heard that that's been a pretty big aha moment for lots of women because they thought they were supposed to be selling on social media, but that felt icky, so then they weren't doing anything. And it's like, no, no, market is like your market. That's your people. That's like your niche.
Yeah.
How are you going to connect with them? You're going to build a relationship with them. You're going to talk about your funny stuff. You're going to post pictures of what you do for fun. You're not just going to sell to them all goddamn day. Like that's boring and that's icky feeling for them too. They don't want to feel sold to. They don't want to feel
No.
like they're walking through a trade show all day long when they're looking at social media. Ew.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And you can, yeah, we avoid those kind of ads. Like we can feel it right away, right? When someone's
Yes.
just and the intention, you mentioned that too about having that service mindset. We can feel that come through
Mhm.
in different ads we see. So I think it's getting that intention right before you start is really crucial. Um, what other kind of common mindset blocks do you see as women are coming through your program? What's common?
Well, women think that everything they post on social media is that people are paying a lot of attention to it and that people are really concerned with it and that people care so much about how they looked or how they said that thing or whether they fumbled their words. And ultimately, people care about one thing, and it's themselves. And if
Mhm.
your video with your pepper in your teeth or your messed up words, if that says something to them that means I can help you or I can make your life better in some way, that's all they care about. And we just have to get over ourselves. Like women are so overthinking everything to do with social media usually, and that's why they're not doing anything. And
Mm.
actually, like there was video 23 or 24 in my 25 days that I just wrapped up, which is on YouTube. I talk about, and I actually put the link, and I just went back and watched it today. This video that I made in 9 years ago. I posted it 9 years ago. One of the first videos I ever posted
Yeah.
on YouTube, and it's called like the RRSP promise or the RRSP song or something. And it's me teaching people about how the RRSP, when you put money in, you get a tax refund, but it's not a refund, it's a loan. You're going to have to pay that back later so you need to put that back into the RRSP or you need to put it into some sort of like, but it's a cute little song. And I like went out into the forest in the middle of nowhere with my two dogs and oh no, I didn't. I only had, yeah, I had two. I had my old dog at the time. And I literally was terrified of the thought of anyone seeing me make a video. This was at the beginning of my making video era. And so I went into the forest and I was like, hey, there's nobody around. And then I used scrunchies and like strapped my phone to a tree and I made my little song, snapped my fingers, sang my little dumb song. And it's pretty cute. And it's me in my very beginning of the era. And but to get to the point where I was willing to make that video and post it, I had to really get out of my head and be like, this is valuable. This is going to help people. This is a different way of delivering this information than most people would do it. So I'm sort of stepping out from the norm, which is always important to me with my marketing. And yeah, so I mean, we have to just do that to market ourselves properly, to build those relationships. We have to just get out there and stop worrying about whether all these new wrinkles, like God, like I look at this video from me from 9 years ago and I was like, shit, like I was so wrong.
Right? I know.
Right. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got all these wrinkles and like, right.
Yeah, you should hang around my family. We were looking at old pictures, not even that old, like 5 years ago, and my kid's like, "Oh, you looked younger then." I'm like, "Thanks a lot."
Yeah. You're like, yeah,
No
that's
filter.
yeah, I know, right? And kids are so honest. And that's the other thing for those of you who have teenagers who are ridiculing you for posting on social media, you're going to need to learn how to tell your kids that you're not posting for them and they are not your target audience and their opinion matters zero. Because
Yeah.
our children are going to be the biggest like critics of, and my kid too, he was like, oh my God. And I'm like, it's working. You know what I mean? Like
It's
what I'm doing
always
is
working.
working. What you're
Do you
saying,
like to eat, kid? Do you like to eat? Because mama's got to do this, so deal with it, right? That's
exactly.
interesting that even you struggled with it at the beginning, because
Oh
I
yeah.
certainly did. I remember making a video through your course. I think it was on the beach somewhere, and I was walking past somebody, and I was like, "Oh God, they're they're listening to me. Like, why is this idiot talking to her phone? Like, does she think she's some kind of narcissist or something like that?" Or yeah, it's super weird at the beginning to do that and to ignore people.
It
Yeah.
is, but, you know, are you willing to do the uncomfortable things to get the results most people won't get ultimately? And I always believed that this stuff would work. I always
Yeah.
knew that I was doing stuff that was different. And, yeah, I would throw on mascara and, like, you know, make sure I didn't look like I just crawled out from under a, you know, whatever. But I didn't wanna look homeless, but I also the first video that I post on my 25 videos, I was still in Mexico, I was walking from the dog shelter, I had just finished walking dogs for 3 hours, so I had dog feces and sweat, and I mean, I looked a little rough, and I was walking down the street in Mexico, and I said in that video, I said, "The first thing you're gonna need to do if you're gonna pull this off is stop worrying about whether or not you look perfect."
Yeah.
'Cause
Yep.
if you always worry about how you look, you will make half to a third of the videos that you will otherwise. I'm not
Yep.
saying that you shouldn't, like, take a quick look in the mirror or flip your phone camera so it's looking at you and be like, "Check the tea," like, you know, like, yeah, but not full makeup like you're going to a goddamn gala. Like, we don't have time for that.
Yeah.
We got businesses to run, we got kids, we got friends, we got beer to drink on patios, like, we gotta get after it, you know?
Yeah, and that was super liberating, as well to just, like, be like, "Yeah, I don't have to be super perfect." Like, yeah, I can raise my phone up a little bit, make myself look a bit better and thinner or whatever, but, like, big deal. Nobody people are gonna see this for a moment
Yeah,
and, contemplate it maybe for a moment, and then it's gone. There's so much content out there that it's like nobody's gonna be sitting there pondering it for days, so whatever. Everyone starts somewhere. It's just I think your main message to us was like, just start, just get it out the door, right? I think that's probably a big one
yeah,
to just start with. Just start somewhere. Um,
absolutely.
so let's talk about community because you do have sort of these two branches to your business. There's your marketing school and there's your community, and you definitely do believe that the size of your community is directly related to your income. So, can you explain why you think that is, and how other entrepreneurs can start building a loyal following?
Yeah, I mean, there can never be too many communities. Like, you know, we could have 47 people tell us what their niche is right now, and I bet you a bunch of them would be the same. But if the 5 people that have the same niche all started some sort of a community, whether it be directly related to that niche or whether it be a community who likes to go hiking or a community that likes to go paddleboarding or a community that likes to meet up for you know, marketing chit chat, a bunch of business owners that wants to meet at a different brewery or brew pub every other Friday, or like whatever community you can
Yep.
start it. Create some sort of a community where you're getting people together. And I mean, your alternative to that is becoming a member of some sort of a community and serving that community. You know, we've all heard about Rotary and different things like that. Like, I'm not talking about those, and I'm not saying those aren't helpful, but I'm saying, like, let's put a little bit of a new age spin on things, right?
Mhm.
There's different ways to, like, one of the things that I did that I got my first ever paid this, so the first ever paid marketing client that I got back when I was telling you about my boyfriend who had the gym. I got that client because I was volunteering at a summer camp as a cabin leader. Like, I was hanging out with like little
Yeah.
girls that I had a cabin full of baby chicks and I was like responsible for them. My son was going to camp. He was with his dad in the summer. Like, I had time and I'd always wanted to be a cabin, like a summer camp counselor for like
Yeah.
young girls because I had some amazing cabin or camp counselors when I was a kid. But because I was posting on social media a little bit about while I was out there and what I was doing, a woman, Facebook algorithm magic basically connected us through, like, we had a bunch of mutual friends. Her kids had always gone to that camp. She saw that I was doing a giveaway. I did a giveaway for a marketing package. I think I called it like the 6-week marketing boot camp or something. And it was for a business. I was going to help them with website update or build them a new website. I was giving away this like $2,500. I slapped some value on it. And I had
Mhm.
16 people enter the giveaway. Some of them entered multiple times, but the one woman who entered it the most, I automatically just decided that she was winning and I rigged it so that she won. But I didn't know her. But she won. And then she and her husband ended up hiring me after the package ended. And then I helped them with their marketing for like another 6 months on like a month-to-month contract. And the reason why is because I was volunteering at summer camp,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. Well, people connect with people they like or they want to be like, right?
and the
So that's always,
community, right? The community of people that
yeah.
I was investing my time and energy into was this summer camp.
Yeah.
I was, meeting all these new people and volunteering out there. And I did that for about 3 or 4 years. And then I stepped away from it. And that's the other thing. Sometimes you need to look at where you're investing your time. And if you're not feeling like it's the right fit and you're not feeling like your business is growing because of it, then maybe you need to step into a different community or start your own, right? What are you into? Are you into, like I got into a really fantastic community of people in Mexico because of my love for dogs. And there's all these homeless dogs living in a shelter. So I met a bunch of awesome people through that.
Mm, yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I'm a sports person, so I've always been involved in sports, and you wouldn't believe how much business has come my way through those communities. Like it's something I love to do, and they get to know you, right? So they kind of people want to hire who they like and
Yeah.
who they want to support their buddies, right? So it
Yes.
could even be something
Exactly.
like that where you're just doing something like that or start your own, for a while there I started like a free kickboxing class that I ran for like a year or something like that. You can start your own thing and you can think outside the box. It doesn't have to just be like a formal sit down networking thing, right? I know you do hikes and things like this. So there's lots of ideas out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about working remotely. I know you just did that for the first time in Mexico. We just mentioned that a little bit here.
Yeah.
So what's your best advice for making that a reality?
Well, I mean, I was working remotely for years leading up to Mexico. I started shifting a lot of my clients to online only
Mhm.
meetings about 3 years before. So as my son was approaching graduation and about to fly out of the nest, I was getting more and more like I meet with people online. And of course, I would try to go into Calgary or have them come out to Cochrane and meet with them in person like once every month or other month, just so that we still had some personal touch. But they often would come to my fempreneur events and we'd see each other in person then too. But really it was just and also going away on, trips and vacations. Like I don't believe in vacations. I believe your life should be something that you don't feel like you need a vacation from.
Mhm.
And I also have my life kind of structured so that the last week of the month, which is right now, I don't have client meetings usually. Sometimes I
Yeah.
have to do, one client meeting or onboard a new client or something like that at the end of the month. But usually the end of the month is for shit that I want to do. And
Yeah.
it's where I get caught up on my business too. Like, I'm going to send out an email to all the YYC Fempreneurs tonight or tomorrow. Like, I get caught up on things that I'm not really doing throughout the rest of the month because I'm working on my client stuff. But working remotely just meant that the expectation of the clients that I have and the clients that would come to me in the future would be that I will be anywhere and everywhere all over the globe and I will still show up for our meeting. Whether I'm
Mhm.
I'm going to Barcelona soon, I'm going to go to Paris and then I'm going to go to Australia. Like I'm going to be working in those places. I'm staying
Mhm.
for 3 to 4 weeks in each place. Because I can work from there. I don't need to go on a 1 week or 2 week vacation and then rush back to get back to work. And so it's just been a mindset that I've had.
Mm.
I was actually in Amway when I was like 17, 18, like right out of high school. I had some family in Vancouver that got me involved in Amway. And although that was not really for me, the thing that was awesome about it was that it helped me understand that, like, oh, people do work from anywhere. People do have these businesses that don't require them to be in one location at all times. And people have these income streams that come from multiple different channels so that their whole life isn't attached to one income stream. Like it really opened my mind to a lot of things that my parents had never talked to me about. So
No, yeah, and we don't get that kind of teaching anywhere, like the entrepreneur mindset and how to start a business. And I remember hearing an entrepreneur talk years ago about how she's just like you said, she scheduled her schedule as she had the 50-25-25 rule. So 50% of the time she was working for clients, 25% of the time she was doing like learning or reading or some kind of professional development, and then the other 25% of the time was like free time for her, and she scheduled her months that way. So that sounds like what you're doing. And I I had been an entrepreneur, or I mean, self-employed at that point, for like years, and I thought, oh wow, is that actually possible? Like, right? And only now, I mean, you have to structure your business in a way that, yeah, you have these set packages and whatnot, but
Yeah.
I wasn't doing that before, and it was just chaos. And now I'm more into a structure like that where I have the packages, and I coach my clients to do that too, because you can't just be working for everybody else all the time. Like you need to do your own stuff, your own marketing. You need that time for professional development. You need to be able to take time off and that too.
Mhm.
Um, but what I wanted to ask about, when you were in Mexico, like you were there for 6 months, were you, because I know you hold a lot of events when you're here, were you worried about at all about not having that community, not being around? How did that play into things?
Well, I was there for 5 months, and I held a community
Okay.
event right before I left and then right when I got back.
Okay.
No, I wasn't. I had thought about potentially, getting, someone that's pretty involved in the community, or partnering up a few of my fempreneur,
Mhm.
alums to hold an event, but I was just like, we've been going at it for 6 years, so we celebrated our 6th year while I was in Mexico, and I wasn't worried about it. I just knew that, like, the community wasn't gonna die,
Yeah.
like, I wasn't I thought about it, and it never felt right to have someone else hold an event, like,
Mhm.
like, I have to be at the event. I mean, and I
Yeah.
did have quite a few fempreneurs that were down in Mexico. Like, I ended up hanging out with 6 different fempreneurs that were just in the area, and we
Oh,
got to
cool.
hang out, we got to do things together. So, yeah, no, I wasn't worried about it.
Okay, well, that's good. And that it helps that you were established already. I think if you were just doing this for the first year and then you took off, that might be a problem. But
Yeah,
you had already been established, in the entrepreneurial space and with your community and everything like that.
yeah.
Um, what else was I gonna ask you? Oh, let's talk about all your books that you've written. So you've published 6 books, which I didn't even know that. I thought I was aware of 2. So anyway, 6 books. Wow. So what inspired you to become an author, and what's the biggest lesson you've learned from sharing your knowledge in that way?
Well, I mean, the first thing I'm gonna say is everyone should write a book. Everyone can write a book, everyone should write a book, especially entrepreneurs, because you're repeating yourself all day long. You're talking to people about the same sorts of things. You have systems, you have ways of doing things that you should put into a book. And
Mm.
if nothing else, so that you can grab it like I did earlier and be like, what order do these go in? A lot of information in here, and you could get hit by a bus, or when you turn 80, you might drop dead of a heart attack, and then all of your life's work is
Mm.
gone if you don't put it into books. And, like, it was important to me to write books also for my son. I know he read my first book. I don't know if he's read any of the other ones, but he might one day. One day when he's old and I've been dead for 20 years, he might read them, and that's reason enough for me to do it. But they're incredible teaching tools when you're working with clients. They're incredible teaching tools when you're teaching group programs. They're out there in the world. I take them to all sorts of events and give them away. You always have door prizes on hand, which is huge.
Mhm.
If you're not the kind of person that's ever held an event, then you're going to need to start, because you're going to need to use those events as a way to grow your community, and your income are directly correlated. So you're going to need things to give away for free. So, you can, of course, get mugs made. You can get cute hats with your logo on them. You can do all that stuff too. But books
Mhm.
are really important and really handy to have to give away. And I mean, to get started with writing a book, it's literally like sit down and write down the top things you find yourself repeating over and over again.
Yeah, like an
Happen,
outline.
you know?
Outline frequently asked questions, or
Yeah.
did you have any help writing your books? Like, did you have to get an editor or anything like that,
I
or
have a
what's the
whole
process like?
process. My most
Okay.
recent book is called "It's Time to Write Your Damn Book, Woman." That book
Yeah.
tells you the entire process of how to write a book from start to finish. That's my most recent book. So,
Okay.
yeah, you can find editors in your own world, in your own community. Um, I I've never hired editors before. I've always used people that I know, and I've, given them things in return, or bought them gift cards, like thank you gifts
Mhm.
and stuff in return. But for the most part, the biggest mistake I've seen people make, and I've seen super famous people do this too, is they go completely dark on social media, and, like, they, like, hide for 6 months while they're writing a book, and then all of a sudden they're like, "I have a new book!" And it's like, "Yo, you should have been telling us about your book
Yeah,
all."
sounds like a missed opportunity.
Yes, it's a huge opportunity, like, my biggest, like,
Yeah,
I guess, like, the tease phase of any event or
yeah,
book or whatever you're creating, the tease phase is, like, pure marketing gold, and
yeah,
you've skipped over that, you've skipped over a pre-launch, you've skipped over, like, I just don't understand how anyone in their world would be like, "Yeah, that's a good idea to just go dark and then pop out of nowhere after 12 months and be like, 'I have a book.'" I mean, I guess
yeah,
there's
and
a huge
speaking of
audience.
books, there they are.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. The first
3 of
3.
them. You can find them on Amazon, right?
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
all of them.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. But yeah, I think the key thing with marketing is, like, I talk about it like, you know, divvy it up like it's Christmas turkey. Like, don't you have your Christmas turkey and then, for a week later, you're eating turkey soup and turkey sandwiches and turkey wrap, and
I like
you
that.
just have to maximize the value of it,
Wow,
right?
that's a really great analogy. I love that. I
Stretch it
think
out.
I'm gonna use that. The other thing I learned from you that I use all the time now is the above the fold thing. You should tell everybody
Oh,
about that.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's an old newspaper term that we've translated into web design. So when they're selling newspapers, I don't even know if they sell newspapers anymore, but when they did, they would fold the newspaper in half. They would put the most intriguing headline at the top because that's what you saw in the little bins, right? And so on your website, that's what the first part of your website is called. A lot of people call it the hero image too, but I call it above the fold because that should be the thing that grabs
Yes.
someone's attention and lets them know, hey, you're in the right place and this is for you. So that's above the fold on a website.
Yes, and it
Yeah.
so resonates with 40 plus people because we know that
Yeah.
newspapers used to be a thing. Maybe
Yes.
below 35, not so much, I don't know, but yeah, it's a really great way of explaining how people need to see the most important stuff on your website without having to scroll.
Yeah.
So it was
Totally.
so brilliant. That was one of
Totally.
the tidbits that you gave away, which isn't a tidbit at all, it's pretty juicy, but you gave that away at your workshop, that you did a free workshop.
Yes, I did with your
Awesome.
help, and I need to do more of those. Actually, I enjoyed that, and that's the kind of thing that I think is helpful in marketing. It helps you stand out because
Mm,
I did give a lot of value and I enjoyed that, and it wasn't just a lot of fluff about like, "Hey, look at me and these are my, my qualifications and this is the problem but no solutions," kind of thing. So,
yeah,
I think if you're really looking to be different, you should take Lindsay's marketing school. She'll teach you a lot of good stuff, right? So, she'll teach you how to get out of your own damn way. I didn't, I hadn't started making videos before that point. You encourage everybody to do video. I think that's your main thing. Is like get on video because that's sort of the next step into, a step away from being in person. It's like video is the next thing,
yeah,
right? Like audio is good, written stuff is good, but if you really want to get to know someone, like someone, trust someone, seeing their face and hearing their personality and their voice and stuff like that, that'll get you there a lot faster. So, you know, but we all have our insecurities. We just got you just gotta get over them. And when you have a community doing it with you, it's like you say, it's a lot more helpful and easier
mhm.
to do it. So, but let us know. So you have something that you're giving away for free to our listeners and viewers. Let me see if I can find a
I've been talking about it all the whole time. It's the
yeah.
25 free videos.
And is it found here at your website
Yep,
under
freebies. Yep, that's
okay.
exactly where it is. There's also a couple other things on the freebies page too, in addition to the 25 videos. I think there's a video marketing checklist on there as
Okay.
well, and something else that I can't remember, but the 25 videos are awesome, and all you need is a notebook, a pen, and your phone, and you can just rock and roll for 25 days straight. You can spread it out over more days if you wanna post every 2nd or 3rd day, and,
Yeah.
yeah, I do walk you through how to set up, a lead magnet system using MailChimp, which is completely free, so that's kind of
Yes.
a bonus little teaching session that you get as well. But really, other than that, you just need your phone, pen, and a notebook.
That's awesome. I need to try that again. When I found your old one, your 22-day videos, it was winter time, like very winter here. And and you suggest going outside and doing some of these videos. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that right now. So now that it's summer, I need to try again and do that challenge because I think it'd be really good to get me back into it. And also create my own challenges. You always inspire me to create my own stuff. So I got to catch up to you, girl. You got 6
Oh,
dang books and all these courses. I got to get going here.
no, I just keep trying stuff, and when it works, I want you to do it, and when it doesn't work, I just don't want anybody to do it because it doesn't work. So feel free to just like let me hand you all the blueprints to the things that actually work because that's pretty much what
Yeah.
I think I want to do for Fempreneurs, right? Is to be like,
Yeah.
here's stuff that works. Go do it.
You're our testing ground. Yeah, you're the tester, and we just do what you say. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, where else can people find you? I know you're on Instagram.
Yeah,
Um,
Instagram and YouTube are where I hang out. If you message me on
okay.
LinkedIn, I apologize in advance for the 2 to 3 week delay to me getting back to you, but I just don't use LinkedIn very much these days. And that's not because LinkedIn's bad or anything. I had a ton of success and huge, huge, huge marketing success on LinkedIn back when I was kind of focusing more on LinkedIn, but it's not really my jam anymore. And then if you want to get like awesome emails, once or twice a month, I send out emails with, free marketing tips, like kind of like what we were just talking about, the latest and greatest things that I'm doing that are actually working. And sometimes
Mhm.
I'll even mention things that I've tried that didn't work to maybe help you avoid wasting time. So hop on my email list. You can do that by clicking the community tab at YYCFempreneurs.com.
Awesome. Yeah, because I think that's sometimes a thing. Is like what used to work in marketing doesn't sometimes work anymore. Trends change, and
Yeah.
you're probably more apt to stay on top of those things than other people. So it's good
Well,
to.
I'm less of a researcher and more of a just go out and try it and see what happens
Yeah.
person.
Mm, that's good. Still, either way works. It
Yeah.
works, right? Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your story and your knowledge with us, Lyndsie. It was
Thank
good to
you
have you
for
on.
having me. It's always
Yeah.
fun chatting with you. So this has been really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and we'll have to go paddleboarding sometime
We
soon.
will.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.